We are live. Hello.
Hello. Charmin said hi.
I'm Lizzie. This is Danielle. That's Charmin.
That's Charmin.
And we are here for the Throwback Book Club live show discussion for the Lunar Chronicles. Hello if you're here, and hello if you're watching back later. Oh, you got them. Oh, yeah, you own them all. Most of them. I don't own any of them. I listen to them all on audio.
Me too. I did also do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. If you are here after we're live, if you're watching back, comment that you're here. And I guess I'll intro that if you don't know what this is and you just clicked on this, this is the live show for the Throwback Book Club, which is a book club that Danielle and I host. The Discord is linked in the description, and Danielle's channel is, and if it's not, it will be, links down there too. So you can join us. We read throwback faves, our faves from when we were teenagers. And this few months, we read the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. We
discussed the first two?
Yes.
Already. So you can watch that.
Did discuss the first two. That's correct. What did you think of the series overall as a whole and like the reading experience?
Basically that. I was so hyped to reread this series. Like, I was so excited. And the experience I had reading this book made me almost wish we didn't reread the series.
Yeah.
My memories when I was a child were very, very fond. Very, very fond of these. Memories as an adult, or feelings as an adult, still well written, still well done, still, in my opinion, goes darker than I expect it to. Unbelievably bored.
Yeah.
How about you?
I kind of felt like through the whole series, I was just like getting through it. Well, no, I really enjoyed listening to the first one. I thought the first one, like, I had a good time. I was like vibing. And then I just feel like it dragged on. Like, the last couple books were so long, and they were like fine and like fun to listen to some extent, but I also did not have as good of a time as I thought I would, but I didn't have a bad time. Like, I wasn't like, these are bad. Like, some of I'm thinking of Beautiful Creatures. Like, we've read series for this book club before that were like actually bad, and these were not bad. They just were like not as
they just
good
didn't
or as
hit the way I remember, in my opinion. They just didn't hit. I thought they would hit, and they didn't hit.
They didn't hit. Unfortunately. And I feel like I can't really articulate why they didn't hit the way I wanted them to hit. Because it's not like anything that was like actually bad about them. I just didn't feel the spark.
Yeah. I was just, No, I definitely agree. I will say one thing I noticed amongst all of the books was this time around, like, I remember everybody hating this book, and I remember not loving it myself. Upon reread, her short story writing is some of the strongest, in my opinion.
Interesting.
I just think she did a good job.
Okay, so we'll get into ratings individual books in a minute, but like, just to look at my overall thoughts, like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with you or not. Like, in some ways I do, because I do think that some of the like full novels were too long and like would have been better if they were shorter. But I also felt like the novella and the short story collection didn't give us a lot of like new plot. And so those, they didn't feel as necessary to me as they could have. Yeah. Do we want to, we already talked about Cinder and Scarlet, but do we want to give our re-give our ratings for those two just in case people didn't see that live show?
So I think my feelings are probably stronger now.
Yeah. I gave Cinder 4 and Scarlet 3.
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Cinder,
give Cinder a 4, maybe a 4.25.
uh-huh.
And I kind of stand by that, if not even a 4.5.
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very solid first book.
Mm-hmm. That was my favorite of the series, honestly.
I was surprised upon reread. Obviously, this was my favorite. I was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Cinder and Winter ended up being my favorites. Cinder probably a little bit more, but not by a ton.
Yeah.
Scarlet, I gave 3, and my review is IDK, this was boring, sorry. So, really helpful there.
Yeah. Yeah. Scarlet was kind of boring, but I also feel like some of the later ones, and my ratings don't necessarily reflect this, but I don't feel like Scarlet was the most boring of the books.
I disagree. I just also still don't really care about Scarlet. I think
Scarlet as a character is the most boring character. No offense to her, but because that book was shorter than some of the later ones.
Yeah, it helped.
Not that like long books are bad. Like long books are great, but like you have to have meat, you have to have substance, and like keep my attention if your book is going to be that long, or like keep doing things, saying stuff instead of
I've never been able to articulate what it is about that book, but I just don't. I don't connect with her, so I don't connect with it.
Yeah.
Cinder is she's such a hard character to come after.
Yeah.
She's so solid, and part of what I thought gave that book strength was the fact that it built on Cinder in terms of including her in it and her POV. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that does do well is kind of that, for me personally, was that like Avengers coming together vibe that started happening.
Yeah. I do like the group as a whole. I think when they're all together, like that's fun to see them all together and like working together and fighting together and like having their moment.
I'm just covered in books right now.
I know, there's so many books. Do we want to talk about Cress?
Yeah, let's jump into her.
You want to
go first? I think about this book, when I thought about it, I thought about just how much I would absolutely die for Cress and Thorn. Mm-hmm. I thought about how I would just die for them. And I still liked them. There's still certain bits that I was like into. I did not remember it being like a travel through the desert for 70% of the book story.
Yeah.
I do not remember that. You know I hate quest stuff now.
I know you hate quests.
I hate it. Let's see what I gave it. I think I said the first 70% of the book was a 2-star, and the last like 30% was a 4, so I gave it a generous 3.
I actually gave this one 3.5, though like in retrospect it's probably a 3 because I don't remember, like I don't think of it as a book that I particularly liked. But it was, I don't know. I like Cress as a character a lot. I think her arc and her journey is really interesting, and I like seeing that. I also found the like desert questy parts a little bit tedious, and I don't dislike a quest. Like I think a quest is fine. The other thing that I kept bringing up, or I brought up about this one, is that like I was struggling with viewing, like seeing the Crest Thorn relationship, because Thorn to me read as a lot older than her. Like I was reading, and these are not, like, I looked up their actual ages and they're like, I don't remember, like 15 and 18 or something, which is, I don't actually remember. I should probably verify. While I'm talking, I'm going to verify. But I was reading Thorn as being like 25, and then reading Cress as being like 14. It just was icky to me. Okay, Cress, according to the AI overview, no, that's actually true. Cress is 16 and Thorn is 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
See if I can jump in, I see what you're thinking of that. So when I read it after that, I went into it almost like looking for that a little bit and like seeing what I thought about it. And I will say, because I mentioned it just in my vlog a little bit.
Yeah.
This is kind of jumping a little bit, so I won't talk on it much. But this book solidified for me not feeling that way.
Yeah, I definitely kind of stopped noticing it as much later on. But just when we're introduced to the characters, that was separately. When we're introduced to the characters separately, that was my initial impression of them, that like Thorn was in the military, like he is a full adult with all of this life experience, and Cress is like a very sheltered young teenager.
It was Chris Pratt, like he was an adult in my brain. And
then so that just was like weird to me, and I do think Marissa Meyer wrote it well in terms of the arc of their relationship. But it was something that I was like aware of and noticing.
It's valid to point out. Because I still think even 1620 is questionable.
Yeah.
Where it worked for me in this one was just how adamantly he was like, he was so self-conscious of her fantasizing of him that I appreciated him being like, I can't let her have this fantasy of me.
Yeah.
And so that is where I was like, and maybe because I had more of that knowledge, but yeah, I see your point though. I think it's a valid thing to bring up.
Yeah.
Especially with Cress's experience of like being alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different from a man who's in prison for all the things he keeps stealing.
Yeah. Yeah. But otherwise, like, I didn't dislike my listening experience to this one. Like, I didn't, like, it was fine. It just was fine.
The only thing I could think about with this series in general now, when I think about this book, is literally just me putting in the chat and being like, it took me forever to read this. I just kept going like, help, I'm still at the restaurant, still stuck on this freaking book.
Yeah.
I will say, also, this book, Winter, my version at the end, I don't know if your audiobook did, had an interview with Marissa Meyer.
Oh, it did, but I didn't listen to it.
That I actually found it to be really, really interesting, and it helped me a little bit more because I had thought about the fact that Cinder specifically, I had mentioned before that it is like, it's a white author writing an Asian character. And I was like thinking about it. And she brings up that she specifically set it in Beijing because the original Cinderella stories are Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scarlet takes place in France because of the werewolf myths from there. And apparently the original translation of Rapunzel, beyond the tower, is sometimes described as a desert.
Oh, interesting.
So that's where she got the desert from.
Okay.
And I was like, I can forgive you more for it. I still hated it.
Yeah. Cheyenne is here. Hello, Cheyenne.
Hi, Cheyenne.
If you're driving, then be safe, but like let us know your ratings and what you thought when you can. She said she's also on her way home from work.
Thank you for keeping up with this series, because this one was
It was a long
This was
one.
an interesting experience. This is the year of trying new month formats,
Uh-huh.
and this was an experience.
Yeah. Um, any other thoughts on Cress?
Sadly, literally none. Like,
Yeah.
I have so few thoughts on this. I feel like nothing happens. I do applaud how the energy amps up at the end. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
tempo definitely felt different when things were
Yeah.
going down. But I didn't care by then. I was just
Yeah.
trying to finish this book. Even
Oh.
though this book
Mm-hmm.
is like so much
So
longer,
much
but it
longer.
felt like less of a drag than this one.
Mm. What did you think of what's his name? This Dr. Erland and his relationship with Cress and his like
Oh, I cry. Yeah, I think it's so sad. It is
yeah.
scary though when she's like being sold to him. Like these things are
Yeah, like
crazy that are happening.
and I feel like we brought this up in the other live show a little bit too, but like Dr. Erland is very much like a not morally like he's a morally gray character in terms of like and I don't always like that term. I think it's overused, but like he very much did a lot of bad stuff. Like the cyborg draft her one and then like
It was going on for like so
for a
many cyborgs.
long time,
Yeah.
like lives expended, and then also the like, even if he wasn't actually mistreating the Lunars that he was like trafficking, he was still participating in this like human trafficking of the Lunars, and so like, I just there's a lot there.
Yeah. I think it is so tragic too how he was just forced into thinking Cress was dead and
Mm-hmm.
forced to give her up, and the elements of like parenthood in this story and like what those relationships can make you do. It's
Mm-hmm.
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are all the thoughts I probably have on this one.
Yeah.
It was. I
Um,
hate the new covers of this one. Also, side note.
oh.
She's like sitting, but her hair looks like nuts. I hate it. I hate it. Thank you.
Do we want to move on to Ferris is next?
I love this one a lot.
Good.
What did you think? You go first.
I gave this one 3. But also like I kind of feel like I liked this one better than Crest. So my ratings are maybe not the most reliable. Um I think I mainly what I was feeling was like this was not and I often feel this about novellas and short stories in the middle of series. I felt like this was not necessary. And that doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. Like, you know. But I do feel like we got I don't know. If I didn't feel like we got enough new information and new plot in it. Like I think it could have been more.
I'm pulling up our comments in our group chat too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I gave this the same rating as Cinder. It's like a 4,
Okay.
4.25. I just feel like it because it wasn't affecting anything in the story. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't going to do those things, she was able to just get a little crazier with it in a way that I liked. Like the woman that gave birth to Snow, and then the way that like just the way the characters die and how many people were being like, just the mentality was really different for me and really dark in a way that I liked.
I do feel like having read Winter, like now that I've read Winter, I see how Ferris was setting us up for some of the time we spent with Winter, the character, and also like in the Lunar, like in the setting of the Lunar Court. I think that context was really helpful to have going into Winter.
You feel that way. I also have to be like 100% honest. I can only think of Regina from Once Upon a Time when I read these books. So I was just picturing her this whole book, and she's so hot. So I was like, this is awesome. That definitely influenced my enjoyment.
Mm,
But I just think it's brutal in
yeah.
some parts.
And
Like,
I feel like Lavana as a character is so like wild. Like the way that she literally impersonates this dead woman.
yeah. Are
To
you
like
kidding me?
it just is like crazy. Like what
And
a
her like wanting his love so bad. Like, it was
uh-huh.
nuts.
Yeah.
It was
And then
crazy sauce to me.
yeah. How did the guard husband, how did he die? I can't remember.
She forced a thaumaturge to kill him.
Okay, so Lavana did kill him. Like
Yes. And then
that's
was
what
like
I
crying over his
thought.
body.
Um, that's what I thought. But like that's wild too. That like she went to all of these lengths to marry him and she's just like nuts.
Craziest about her too is like she is still the good seed of her family.
Yeah.
And that is wild. Like, for generations her family has been trash.
Mhm.
The fact that she cares at all is like the good seed.
Yeah. And I wonder like so like Winter is not like that even though she grew up in that family, but she's not genetically related to Lavana. But also she doesn't use her glamour. And I wonder if Celine Cinder had grown up in that situation, grown up in that court, what would she be like?
I think she'd be just like her mom.
Yeah.
100%. I think she would have been ruthless. 100%.
Wow.
I just think that this book I like how the directions she went in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree it doesn't impact the larger story. But as its own, like, I would almost just read this. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it is a lot of fun.
It was just so crazy to me. I'm like looking at it now. I'm just like, love is a conquest. Love is a war. Here's what I think of love. Dun dun. Yeah, that was this one was just gag city for me.
Winter. Up next.
Winter.
This one. I'm trying to decide if I want to say was my least favorite in the series. I think it's not.
That's spicy.
I think it's. I mean, I gave it 3, but it's like a lower 3 than some of the others. I really like my ratings, which ones I gave 3 and which ones I gave 3.5. I'm like feeling totally different about now, but this one I just felt like it was so long, and I do think it was a good wrap up. Like I do think it was a good ending. But also like I was kind of bored reading it.
I gave this one a 4. I really liked this one.
Okay.
Excuse me. The Cayenne Cinder content surprised me by how much I loved it. We can jump to Cheyenne's comment if you want.
Okay. Cheyenne said, I enjoyed Cress as an audiobook overall. Just felt like a romp that I sailed through. Also, surprisingly enjoyed the dark elements of Fairest. Agree. Winter felt long. I honestly hardly remember it. Don't think it was repetitive? Oh, you do.
Oh, you do.
You remember feeling it very. I agree. I think Winter was very repetitive and definitely did not need to be 800 pages.
I do agree. I think the plot story, I would agree with those points. Repetitive, boring, didn't do much. I think the character developments did a lot for me. I was fascinated by Winter's sections and her relationship with Jason, When he kills the wolf to make it look like it's her, I was screaming. I was like, this is crazy. When I first read it, I had some tabs here. And it's really funny because I ended up getting rid of the tabs that I had because they were like the dumbest Cress and Thorn moments. And I was like, what am I talking about here? But there were 2 other parts that I was like, I kind of do want to come back and touch on these. So I will give it that I felt things when I was reading it. Like I felt connected to it. The one comment I want to make is I saw that you had posted in the chat about, and you felt similarly icky about the use of disfigurement in the story. And I 100% agree. I think it was quite gross, especially when it got to the point of Cinder wanting to expose it.
That was what really, like, it's like one thing for the villain to have a disfigurement. That's just a fairy tale thing. Like, you know, it's not ideal. Like, it's not good, but it kind of is what it is. It's part of the genre. But the, like, aspect of, like, everyone's going to know she's evil because they'll know she's disfigured was, like, a really icky connection to me of, like, yeah, like, she's not evil because she's ugly, and being ugly doesn't make her evil. And I say, and again, ugly, like, it's all icky.
I felt like Marissa Meyer's message she was trying to get across more was that Lavana needed to confront herself.
Yeah.
And like Lavana needed that mirror for herself. But it felt like Cinder was understanding the message of her people should see her.
Yeah. I mean,
and I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can kind of see it could be taken as the angle of Cinder's exposing the fact that Lavana is lying, and the fact that Lunar glamours are lies. But I also don't think that was made clear enough, and I don't think that's a strong enough argument to outweigh the fact that, like, that direct of a connection was made between being evil and being disabled, disfigured.
I agree. That's why I'm like, it's hard because I could see why Lavana needs to confront that truth, but I can't see why Cinder's invested in that truth so much.
Yeah. Or, like, invested in, like, exposing.
Yeah.
Because, like, it also was part of Cinder's plan to make the citizens realize that Lavana is evil, or, like, make the citizens revolt. And, like, again, she's not evil because she's disfigured.
I just thought it was so interesting that we both individually came to that conclusion. Like, I thought of that before I saw your comment, which means that we both thought of it.
Yeah.
And when I did my vlog, I actually said that I think a really interesting comp title to read with this would be Disfigured by Amanda Ludluck, which is a story about disfigurement and handicapped in original fairy tales. I was just like, if anybody wanted, like, something to kind of enhance their reading of this, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah. I also think, like, next to the conversation that the whole series is having about, like, with the cyborgs, that, like, being different doesn't make you lesser. I just think that putting those two things in the same book is interesting.
That's a good point. It's somehow so big, yet didn't hit the important marks it should have highlighted or fleshed out better.
Yeah.
If you want to see the 2 tabs I had.
Yeah, go for it.
The first one, this one could actually get me emotional again. I think I was crying at this point. It's when Aiko defended Cinder again after X amount of times. And the first time, like, Cinder is, like, really hurt or whatever, she says something like, one of the groups says something like, broken isn't unfixable. Or, like, broken isn't unfixable. And then on page 670, Aiko is torn apart, and she asks Cinder, she's like, you'll fix me, right? And then Cinder does a callback to that, where she's like, of course I will. Broken isn't the same as unfixable. And I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
I just think that that's so I think it's a very good message, that line. My next one that actually was more of like, it made me cackle, was when Cinder meets with all the representatives after they've won. And she's like, she has to ask like the governor of America or whatever, and she's like, so I have to ask you a favor about a man named Carswell Thorne. And that made me laugh. I was like, oh, Thorne.
Oh, Thorne.
Oh, silly guy. Loved him in this book. I really thought that he was a fantastic team player and appropriate comic relief. Sometimes they're not always appropriate comic reliefs, in my opinion. And I thought it was funny to see how, like, you know, it's silly stuff, but when Crest, like, couldn't see that Thorne treated her differently for a reason.
Yeah.
And that just had me kicking my feet. Winter and Jason fascinated me.
In what way? Say more.
The relationship of how he will just stand by her and wants to help care for her, and the lengths that he's like, him putting his whole life on hold to help her, and then the book ends and he's like, maybe now is the time I can travel and be a doctor. I just thought was just like really sacrificial in a good way. Like, you don't always want your partner to sacrifice, but I think that he was such a good mature element in her life. When she has not great role models. My computer's dying, so I'm moving you.
Okay.
Not very far. Just okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Winter as a character. I think she's fun to follow. And also, I was hearing an echo for a second, but I think it's gone.
Probably me moving, sorry.
Yeah, that's good. I enjoyed Winter as a character. I think she's fun, and she also like has an interesting arc and an interesting perspective as someone who's raised Lunar but doesn't use her glamour like by choice. And it's also just like, I just like her as a character.
What do you think about the reason why she doesn't use it?
I'm trying to. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like trying to remember.
No, it's dark. In my opinion, these are dark for young adult books.
Yeah.
Not that they can't be, but just like, it happens several times that I'm like, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes, like, I feel like she's a very strong-willed character. Like, she's very strong-willed, and she's also, like, I think really well-written in terms of consistency. Like, she is very consistently her character. And I think Martha Meyer does that very well.
I think that is a great way to say that. I'm disappointed by the length. Yeah. I'm happy I reread the series because I didn't know if I wanted to keep them, and this is my decision not to keep them.
Yeah.
And I am happy we did that.
Yeah.
I needed the space.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Do you have any more thoughts on Winter, or do we want to go to Stars Above?
I think that's all my thoughts on Winter. Okay. I don't think I had many.
Stars Above. What did you think?
Let me check my thing.
Yeah.
I think I gave it like I read it at work, so maybe I was generous and gave it a 4, but probably like a 3. Yeah, I gave it a 4. I don't know if that's true.
Okay. I gave it a 3.5, but I feel like that was, like, I liked Fairest better than I liked this one. Whatever. Most of the stories I was like, kind of like, whatever. Like, most of them were like scenes that we already knew happened, and then we just like saw them. Like, there wasn't anything new, or like, I just was kind of bored by most of them. And then there was the one that was like about an android we had never met before. That one was just like weird and random. I was like, who even are any of these characters? Why are we doing this right now? Like, what is the significance of this?
It's a Little Mermaid retelling. Because it's the little
Oh.
android and she doesn't have her voice. And
Oh, I did
she's.
not pick up on that.
It feels weird to just be here, though.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like it fit. And
Yeah.
I'm a Little Mermaid stan account.
Mm-hmm. I did like the last one, the wedding one. I thought that was cute, and I was
That was
like,
incredible.
yeah, that was the only one that I was like, I actually like this. The rest of them, some of them were better than others, but I didn't feel strongly about any of them. I felt negatively about the little android, and I felt positively about the wedding one. The rest of them were just kind of neutral for me.
I feel exactly the same way. I think that I like her. When I say I like her short stories, it's I guess I just like how well she can condense her story or something. I don't know. I
Mhm.
like her writing in those sections,
Yeah.
but I have no clue why we got prequel short stories. Like,
Mhm.
I think this would have been I can't think of a single sports analogy. This would have been a home run if
Mhm.
it was all sequel stories. Like, give
Yeah.
us Ico now.
Yeah.
Give us stories that are ending the series, not back
Mhm.
to how Kai and her met from his perspective. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think also there's like so much that we could have explored in terms of sequels. Like because we like had all of this like here's where they're going to go next type
Yeah.
that like we saw all of these prequel things that we already knew happened.
Exactly. We're sending like 5, 6 characters going in different directions. Literally just give me a short story of each of those directions.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in that part quite a bit.
Yeah.
The little android one, I was like, I could see what she's doing here, but I just didn't think it was entertaining.
Yeah. It
It
just
felt like she was
wasn't
just
it
like,
didn't
I
feel
want
like
to
it
do
was the
this
place
story.
for it also.
She did say in her original version, like vision for this series, I think it
Mhm.
was gonna end. Oh, I wish I could remember. It was gonna like end with like a Robin Hood story
Huh.
or something like that.
Interesting.
Let me look up. She like had it mapped out. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Robin Hood, but it was a different fairy tale about like a guy.
Hmm.
And she was like, she had it completely shaped around it. She wanted to go that route. I think maybe even Rumpelstiltskin she wanted involved in everything.
Interesting.
And she just didn't go those. I just think that's interesting. Different routes. I don't think that to be sad you didn't go all these routes. I don't think you needed to write a little more mermaid story
No.
to like wrap up those ends.
Yeah. It didn't feel like the place for it. But
I'm sad with how I feel about the series as a whole is probably just like a 3. And I'd say before this reread, it probably would have felt like a 4 to a 5. So it's a bummer, but I am happy I did it. Like I think 16-year-old Danielle now would still love this.
Mhm.
I would still, especially back in the day when I was in the mood, like I wanted all my books to be 800 pages and I was like, give me more.
Yeah.
I understand why I was obsessed.
Mhm.
Now I
Yeah.
expect a little more shaping to a story.
Yeah. Yeah, I also like feel like overall it's a 3-star series. But I would recommend them to young adults because I think they're well done. I just had a 3-star experience, I guess.
I'm happy we still did it.
Yeah.
DreamWorks was gonna do a movie, and I never knew what happened with
Yeah.
that. But I think that would have been so
I
interesting
think
to
it could
see.
have been a good movie. Yeah.
Especially an animated movie, I think could have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are kind of all my thoughts. So, do you have anything We just don't talk about Aiko enough. We talked about her, I think, a lot in the other video.
Oh yeah, love Aiko.
She's just an icon. Oh, are you gonna read? There's a few graphic novel sequels.
Oh,
that follow Aiko. They're called Wire and Nerves.
Interesting. I am not a big graphic novel person, so I probably won't read them, but I think you should and tell me how they are.
I will. I kind of want to see how those, I want to see. I had a hard time picturing Wolf. And I really want to see how how it's done.
Yeah.
And so I do think I'm going to give it a shot. She also wrote a story during COVID of Cinder.
Oh, I saw that too.
And
I saw that existed.
And I do think I kind of want to give those a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I will keep the chat updated. I just didn't think it was worth adding to our reading list.
Yeah.
But I will let you know how those do.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about what we're reading next?
Yes. I don't have any of them near me.
I have to get the titles. Okay. So we are reading last May and June. We read a selection of Sarah Dessen books, and I feel like they were big hits. Like, we enjoyed them.
They might have been the most successful other than Hunger Games.
I think so, actually.
They hit.
So we're reading another set of Sarah Dessen's. We're reading two. We're reading The Truth About Forever, which is an old favorite of Martine's, from just Martine. And we're reading Once and For All, which is, I believe, her newest one, right?
No. Saint Anything. We looked it up. It was Saint Anything, I think, is her newest or something.
Okay. But it's one of the more recent ones.
One of her. I don't even think it's Saint. Yeah, but that's one of her more recents. But it's about a wedding.
Yeah. So we have
perfect mood.
Yes, we have one about a wedding. I'm getting married not in June, but in July. So that's exciting.
Still the good energy.
Good energy. Actually, one of the other Sarah Dessens had a wedding in it too. The ones that we read last year. But I'm now much closer to my weddings.
We've kind of fallen off on the movie watching part. Yeah. But I'm still open to some.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to watch The Fault in Our Stars anymore and cry anymore.
Okay. Well, we should we'll be in the chat and discuss. Yeah. Neither of the Sarah Dessens have movies, and there's no Lunar Chronicles movie. But
so we could do like a movie that doesn't have a book.
Yeah, we could do like a same era type of throwback movie. Definitely. Because I enjoy our movie watches.
Me too. I do have so much. The Fault in Our Stars, I think we should save it for the next time we have a set that doesn't have a movie, maybe. It just doesn't feel very summery to me right now. I'm not trying to cry like that. And we never watched Let It Snow. We could try that again still this.
Yeah.
We'll still hit some of the ones we wanted to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Danielle, for joining me and for doing all the things you do for this book club. May and June are Sarah Dessen. The Discord is linked below if you are not in it. And then we have some exciting things lined up for the rest of the year as well. So
plug yourself.
I was just referring to this book club.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Wonderthon. I'm just so focused on that.
I will also plug Wonderthon.
I can't think of anything else.
If you are here and you don't know about the readathon that I host in June, it's called Wonderthon. Look at it on my channel. The announcement video is out. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, we have fun plans for this. I just can't stop thinking about Wonderthon. That's all you're going to hear about for this foreseeable future.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Thanks for reading it. I know that I was really excited for it and was like, we gotta read these. Thanks for dealing with it, because they sucked. Not always, but some of the reading, it just took so long.
It just took a long time, Okay. Well, I'm going to click end stream, and then we have like 5 more seconds to talk.